Alright, in this video we're going to talk about how to get the bricks into the game actually and display them. I think that's what we're going to be able to accomplish here. So we're actually going to work in the game panel class. So the way we're going to store the bricks is, it's a little bit, I don't know, there are other ways to do it. To be sure that we could create a layout object or a map object or a level object or something that would have a job of like being a program level. We're just going to keep track of the bricks with an array of brick objects, a two-dimensional array called bricks. And we have to import brick because the two things are in different packages. Then, after we create that, we will create a couple constants to remember values. So public static final int, let's say num calls, and I think I have this set to 9 at first. Public static final int, and this is going to be the num rows. This is just to get rid of magic numbers. I think we start with 4. I'll adjust that if it looks funky though. And then these are going to be public static final int. We're going to do grid size, which is just kind of my way of sort of remembering how widely spaced the bricks should be. Then a public static, and you'll see how these things work. Final int, and we're going to do offset. This is the padding around the edges of the bricks. Since grid size and offset are the same, they could probably just be one variable, but let's just do it this way. Alright, so, and then in the constructor we need to initialize bricks, so we're going to say bricks equals new brick array, and it's going to have num rows by num calls bricks, so that's going to be the size of the array. Now we're going to actually just kind of create a brief method to generate the bricks. Again, there are different ways to do this certainly that would allow you to make different kind of arrangements of bricks. We're just going to do a method to generate bricks that will, so I'm going to call it generate bricks. We're just going to call it before we create it, generate bricks. We'll call that in the constructor. That's not a method that's been created yet, so we need to go down and create it. We'll create it down at the bottom of our program. Public, let me just create some space so you don't have to look at the bottom of the thing. Public void, and it could be a private method because it's just to be used internally here. Generate bricks. Doesn't need to take any parameters. So the job of this method is just going to be to let's do row. It's just going to be to kind of place these in space. So we're going to start at 0. Row is less than bricks.length. Row plus plus. So we'll use nested loops to do this. And then for int call equals 0, call is less than bricks at row.length. Call plus plus. So then at each row and column we just need to generate a new brick. So we're going to say bricks at row column equals a new brick, and its x position is going to be the column value times the grid size to get the spacing right plus the offset. And then its x value is going to be the row times the grid size plus the offset. So that will generate bricks. I've done some testing to make sure these numbers are correct, so it's not like I could just guess at 60 and 60. But if you just think through the math kind of slowly, if you multiply it by the column, so this goes from 0 up to the final column is, what was it, like 9? And you multiply that by 60, so like 5 by 60, it'll place the grid off like into the middle of the screen a bit. Alright, and so now we need to draw all the bricks. So let's create a method called draw bricks. Public void draw bricks, And we're just going to say for, oh, and we can use an enhanced for loop for this, so let's do that to practice those. So we're going to say for, a row of integers, or a row of bricks, right, you give the type, give it a temporary name, and tell it which array to go over. So this is a one-dimensional array of brick objects called row. Then we say for row, or for brick, the type b, we want it to go over row, b.draw with g2. And this should draw the bricks, but we still need to call that in the draw memory, or draw method. And so we'll call draw bricks. And I believe if I did all that correctly, we should actually see some bricks on the screen. And hopefully they will be spaced out, and they will have the color that is based on their strength that was generated randomly. Look at that. Looks pretty good. There's a little flicker. We'll deal with that later. But it's starting to look like a real game. Now obviously the ball is not colliding with the bricks yet, but we'll get to that, I promise. I'll deal with that flicker. I'm sorry, I don't understand. I'll fix the flicker in a later video.